Hello, my dear friends. It's always good to come talk with you. I'm about talked out, as you can tell. That's all I've done is flatten my yapper. I was just talking to a mother of one of you guys who thinks you're way too thin. You're on an 18-day grape diet, which is excellent. Hasn't felt better in his life, which is exciting, you know. And explaining to his mom that, and these are mothers of concern, you know, and fathers and stuff. And when you get too skinny, you know, some people freak out and do not understand what malabsorption is. And this lad was fighting hair loss. And I tried to explain to the mother that that's a much more serious problem than one thinks about. And you start losing hair, you've got acids building up in the subcutaneous areas of the scalp and all that, and not good. And you know it's going to be backing up into the brain, and it's just there's nothing ever good comes when you start to see your hair loss and all the other stuff like that. It's vital to fix that. And of course, malabsorption is a part of having lymphatic problems, particularly when you see them up here. You know they're all saturated down below. And of course, these byways and highways of the lymph system is everywhere. So you're going to be clogged up everywhere. And so unclogging. And I think this young man is doing an extremely great job. He's got himself focused. He's right on. And I'm proud of you guys. And this lad here who's really kicking butt. Well, he turns around. She was telling me her mother lived into the hundreds, or her great-grandmother maybe, one of them, found that quite interesting, because if this lad's got those kind of genes and what he's doing now to himself, he'll go way on past his great-grandmother or great-great-grandmother. So he can live way on. In other words, when you start looking at what kills humans and you fix those things, I don't know, and you got good genes, or you've regenerated genes that were weakened, and now you regenerate them. Now your genes are stronger than ever before. Holy moly, what can kill you? Trouble is, do you want to live on this rock that long? Woo! Okay, we're going to keep on going with Q&A because I want to catch up. Halfway tried to keep up with you guys. Hi, Dr. Morse. I have a question about sulfur. I know you've been trying asparagus root to pull sulfur out. Will the same be with ordinary asparagus? That I'm sure. I'm not sure. I know, remember I said asparagus root is really hard on the kidneys because people have talked about this quite a bit. Sometimes when you read things on the internet, it's not always what they smack out to be when you try them. I've been dabbling in herbs, of course, being an herbalist, for quite some time. And asparagus root is fairly new thinking for kidneys, but way too acidic, unless you use it by the drops instead of droppers, because real strong stuff. But I think, like anything else, hydration and the movement of lymph out of there moves this out. I mean, we have a lot of befores and afters where the sulfur was and the sulfur isn't anymore. Granted, it's not an overnight thing. It's a little more time intensive to pull a lot of sulfur out of you than if you had none there at all. It's just that much more agglomerating or sticky gluey, in other words. I recently bought asparagus, not knowing it contained sulfur, then remembered the smell I had in my pee straight after eating it. See what I'm talking about? But is it that you think the sulfur within our bodies are actually being excreted through the urine by the asparagus? You know, I don't know. I don't know how much asparagus is a sulfur veggie. I don't know if is asparagus, which I like asparagus, but I don't know if it's a cruciferous or not. You have to just research the chemistry in it and see if it has high sulfur. If not, that'd be interesting. It'd be very interesting if you found out that asparagus, just eating asparagus would pull sulfur out. That'd be cool stuff. That'd be really cool stuff. So all you guys with sulfur in there, try asparagus and see what you see. See if it pulls it out. I can't tell you. I know when you go to the root. Of course, when you get into the roots of anything, that's where you got real concentrated chemistry and more of the alkaloids type chemistry in the roots, much less in the leaves. And of course, not hardly at all in the flowers, but any. So who knows? I mean, you guys are going to discover some things too, and that's exciting. So I don't know. I can't tell you, to be honest with you. Hence, some researchers are saying that some people seem to have more compounds in their urine than others. Well, why is that? Some are filtering and some are not. And you know what I'm saying? There's all levels of that. Or some people just smell it less. I am not sure what is accurate. Just wanted to know if asparagus itself is clear for me to eat, since I seem to have lots of sulfur buildup. I don't know what to say. Thinking of the vibrational frequency of asparagus, I don't know. I don't find it being too negative. I don't know. If your body, muscle test it. See if your body likes it. That's one way to test it. You can test anything, including food. It's all physics. So see if your body likes asparagus. If you test strong, go ahead. Another way, of course, is if it does keep cleaning this out of you, you'll see a change in your eyes, and the orange in your eyes will start going away. That would be too cool. But I can't say because I don't know, I see, let me see. Or if it, by any chance, will help me pull sulfur out, and that is what I'm experiencing with the smell of my urine. Isabel, man, I'm just not sure, sweetheart. You'll have to see, really look at that and experiment. You guys are going to be experimenting on things, because gosh, we need everybody out there being researchers. Yeah, because we don't have any good research teams that thinking like we are right now, that I know of. So we we need to do our own research. And that's good stuff, because it can't hurt you. And I know of. I am a 60-year-old housewife, but you guys are I really appreciate these questions, because it shows you guys are listening and really getting it, because I'm telling you, it changes your life. It changes your world. And there's no words for that. When you start getting happy, healthy, you get your body cleaned out, your weight's back on, you're looking good, you're out of body traveling, or at least you're learning how to be more than now, you're letting things go, you're happier because things don't have a chokehold on you. That's good stuff, guys. Good stuff. I'm a 60-year-old housewife and always kept myself in good physical shape. That's pretty good for a housewife, to tell you the truth, because when you get married and everything kind of settles down, and people kind of lose self-respect and self-caring a lot of times. You just kind of seem to energetically balance out and kind of just hang. You see that in so many people. After years of personal stress and anxiety, in 2012, I began showing signs of tremors in my hands, and I have been weak all over, especially on the right side of my body. I don't like what I'm reading. Then in 2013, I was diagnosed with possible neurological Lyme disease and underwent 8 grueling months of antibiotic therapy, which brought me to my knees. You know what? It just so grinds my grits when I hear this. And this is just what they do. They know antibiotics don't cure Lyme's. They know that. Matter of fact, I think, wasn't it Jesse Ventura that did a show that said Lyme is actually a viral? It doesn't matter. Notice that everybody gets bit by a tick, even city slickers? No. And of course, the antibiotics do not work. Immediately you're destroying your systemic bacteria, your lymph node bacteria, which is bad. It's just a nightmare. Just what this lady's going through right here brought her to her knees. And you're lucky you're still able to write this, because antibiotics like Cipro has terminated a lot of people's lives. Brought me to my knees, and I began bedridden for about 6 months. Holy crap. Because I was shaking so badly and could barely walk, it was then that it was declared that I had Parkinson's symptoms. And in my weak and ignorant state of mind, I took cinnamon. Oh. Heard me talk about cinnamon, did you? Yeah, Jesus criminy. I don't really know for sure if I ever really had Lyme disease, really. See, this is the thing. When you have a system that's set up the way allopathy's set up, it's a nightmare. It's created a nightmare for its own doctors, its own nurses. It doesn't even know how to fix itself. You've got these pharmaceutical drug lords that are out of control. If anybody need to be visited by the FDA and set down, it's pharmaceutical drug lords. So they're part of that. Oh, poor thing. I didn't really know for sure. Yeah, I'm not sure either. Given the test results, my neural doc doesn't think so. I am, and he might be right. He might be right. I am also having horrible muscle spasms in my right leg and can't really get to a true answer as to where they are coming from. So let's stop right there for a minute. Well, first of all, look at several things in your world. And the first thing you want to look at, of course, is you get a picture of your eyes and start looking at that. What does your lymph system look like? Do you have nerve rings in your eyes? What does your kidney and adrenals look like? You know, first and foremost, you've got to get into that body and start opening the doors. You start moving these acids out that are breaking down the myelins and everything else. And you could have even neurotoxins in there. You don't even know, a lot of times, what one consumes through the foods, through breathing, through the chemicals of makeups and stuff. All these things. There's so many neurotoxins. Well, how do you get them out? And there's no one's going to be able to tell you you have neurotoxins in your body. That's why, for those intellectual children out there, thinking about frequencies of everything, in the future we need to be able to scan the body with a frequency machine and we'll be able to tell you where everything, every chemical, everything is by its frequency signatures. We should be able to do that now, but we're off in the jungle chasing rainbows and pots of gold that never exists. So this is why we have to get right to the point here and get right to this, because this lady has been through hellville, no question about it. So the first thing you want to do is open the doors. You get on the kidneys, you get on the adrenals. You want to hit those adrenals. And if your blood pressure is high, get about 200 milligrams of the adrenals, glandulars, and if it's low, 400s. And go after that. Brain and nerve, upper circulation. You don't know if you have brain lesions or not. I mean, these are some of the things you want to take a look at. Start working on those neurolymphatics down that spine. Get this moving down your spine. Have a chiropractor take a look at that neck and make sure your spine is in shape. Because I had a lady that did seizures all the time. Sent her to a friend of mine, chiropractor. He found her head was all twisted. Straighten that up, and that into that. So it's just eliminating possibilities. But in what you're saying, you know your lymph system's a mess, probably, because to be diagnosed with lupus or Lyme's, fibromyalgia, they're all the same, guys. I've said this before. They're all the same. Systemic acidosis. And there is nothing friendly, happy, or healthy about systemic acidosis. It's just a nightmare for those involved in pain all through them. But you see, when we treat, we take people into hellville. Just can't do that. So you want to start opening up. Go after your lymph system. Because even though you're looking over here neurologically, you want to go after your lymph system because that's the system that's breaking down the nervous system. At the same time, I definitely would check my parathyroid gland and make sure that you're utilizing calcium. Check your fingernails. Do you have spider veins, varicose veins? Do you bruise easy? Petechia? What's going on? Take a look at that. If you're a female, is your monthly cycles irregular? You have excessive bleeding, that sort of thing. Look at all these signs and symptoms so you can figure out what glands are down. Get a picture of your eyes, but work on your endocrine glands big time. Anyway, dealing with the months of anxiety and depression as a result of this trauma, no kidding. I refuse to accept my condition and have been searching for the way to recover. That tells me you're a spiritual one, my dear, because that is exactly, or my man, whatever, what you have to do. You have to get your body cleaned out, get these acids out of your body, and don't ever give up. Just because one person doesn't have the answer, guys, doesn't mean no one else does. And that's what medical doctors are so pompous and arrogant in that way. They're the only ones that have the answers. You have none of the answers. I mean, that's the ego, and that's the problem with ego. It comes up and slaps us when we don't realize it. And so you always want to be the watcher at the door of your world to make sure your ego is in shape, sitting over in the corner. When you need the power of individuality, there it is. But this lady is good. What I would like to know is it still possibly covered, even though I have been taking anti-Parkinson's meds? Absolutely, but remember, cinnamon is a bad boy. Here's the thing. I have a antispasmodic. I would be going for that antispasmodic and using it at whatever dosage, at least a dropper full 3 to 4 times a day. You can do a half a dropper full under the tongue as needed, or what's called PRN. That's when needed, or as needed. You can do that, but that's the first thing I recommend. I recommend an antispasmodic, brain and nerve number 2, upper circulation, 2 kidney formulas, 2 lymphatic formulas, an adrenal gland formula. Take a look at the parathyroid gland. If you need that, hit that, because you don't want to move into seizures and stuff like that either. So you got to fix that up, and that's how you go at it. Get all these acids out of there. Your chemistry coming in is going to hydrate and rebuild neurologically. So fruits, berries, and melons, you don't want to play around with the veggies too long. You'll have to, if you can, I can't really recommend that. As a medical doctor needs to help you with that one. But if it was me, I'm going to use an herbal antispasmodic instead of cinnamon. Because cinnamon, in my world, is addictive like cocaine. Our herbal antispasmodic enhances your myelins, as well as acting as an antispasmodic. Oh, did God do that good? For a year, and what type of diet should I follow? Fruits, berries, and melons. Like I said, I wouldn't even mess with salads. Get into this. Stop this right now before it gets any deeper in you. Stop it right now. And that's what I'm saying. You use nervine-type herbs, use antispasmodics. You're getting into the adrenals, which is enhancing neurotransmitters. You enhance serotonins big time. If you have brain lesions, that's all lymphatic. You got to drain the head. You can candle your ears if you got pressure back here, cold and hot and cold treatments on the back of the head and back. Definitely want to see your chiropractor. Make sure all this is in line. All those sort of things will help you out to make it through this. I have been given 3 types of diets by various naturopaths and very confused as what I should eat to heal my body. I don't mind saying that I'm very scared and confused. And I wouldn't know why you would say that too. Because neurological problems are probably the least fun of them all, except for COPD. There's nothing fun about not being able to breathe. But there's nothing fun about a nervous system that's not allowing you to breathe either. I mean, there's nothing fun at all about neurological problems. And they're the most serious of them all. So you have to have a high enough frequency diet. If you want to know how these other naturopath diets are, try them. Don't spend too long paddling a boat that doesn't go nowhere. But going on a high-protein diet for you right now would be devastating. You'll go up with your tremors and move into seizures. I mean, you can go on and on and on. If you want to rebuild the nervous system, you treat this just like MS, Lou Gehrig's, or any other spinal cord injury. Fruits, berries, and melons, period. If you cheat once in a while with a salad, okay. But you also want to take care of the system that's going down. And the adrenals, no matter what, is a part of that, even though you're talking about central, if you have brain lesions, the autonomics involved always, and of course all the way down to kidneys and adrenals. So when you have a serious neurological problem, you go after this. You go after this 100%. It doesn't matter. Shut the world off and you go after this, because there is no fun in Parkinson's or in MS or in Lou Gehrig's. There's no fun at all. And these are devastating issues. And they're all about acidosis, and you just keep getting worse and worse and worse until you're bedridden, and then you can't move at all. Then you can't breathe or can't swallow. And it goes on and on and on. There is nothing so hard it'd be worth keeping that problem. Nightmare from hell. So you want to dig in. I understand you're scared. Don't be scared, because I can help you right through this, but you get strong with your focus. View these videos. Talk to other people with MS or anything on the web that you, or on our site that you can, but go after this. Very important. Very, 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 very important. Don't mess around anymore. They just took you down with the antibiotics. God, at least you're still alive. Hello, doctor. Thank you for your work. Thank you. This is Mr. Oseeghee? Oseeghee? Oseeghee. I know. I believe you are. Thanks, my friend. Thank you. Peace and love to you, my friend. I know you're not a fan of urine therapy, and I'm not debating you or trying to start an argument, but I've been on it for 10 months, and it works wonders for the body, internally and externally. I would like to do a clinical study one day, and I would like you to be in charge of it. P.S. Your lymphatic and kidney forms are pretty strong. Great stuff. Thanks, my friend. Thank you. If you're doing urine therapy, let's just hope you're not filtering, okay? Because it is ridiculous to put your acid waste back into the body that you're just trying to get them out of. And to what end all, you know what I'm saying? A couple more questions, Dr. Morris. Are dried fruits like prunes, apricots, figs acidic, unsulfured? Should I be eating them? Well, you definitely want to get an unsulfured. Again, man loves sulfurs. Look at all the people that are loaded with it in their bodies. Yeah, you know, I tell you what, I love figs, dates, they're all good. Of course, dates, medjool dates, Bahari dates, I love them. Prunes, yes, they are acidic. I guess a little dab wouldn't hurt you. Apricots and prunes are both, of course, acidic a little bit. But figs, no. Dates, no. Every time I am swimming in the ocean, I snort ocean water to cleanse my sinuses. I have a lot of mucus coming out. Do you think it's a good idea to do that? If it's clean, salt water, good old salt water. But down here we have so many canals in these swanky neighborhoods. Now we have serious pollution in our oceans here, especially the Gulf over here. We have what's called red tide, because all these houses dumped their pesticides and herbicides went into the canals that they treated their lawns with. And then some cities were still dumping sewage into the ocean here. So we do not have it looks pretty sometimes. Wow. But, yeah, anytime you can wash the sinuses out with saline, which is a salt or sodium solution, absolutely. Yeah, good stuff. Matter of fact, if you have skin problems like psoriasis and all that, go swimming in the ocean if you're near it, or take saltwater baths. Very good for the skin. Helps with the symptoms of that. It's not curative, but helps with the symptoms. What do you think about castor oil cleanse, where in the morning you drink 1 to 2 ounces of castor oil after that sip, or hot water for some time? Well, you know what? I mean, you get up about 2 ounces. The thing you have to be careful about is spasm your liver and gallbladder too much. Too many oils will spasm. That's where you get into liver flushes and gallbladder flushes. And when you're doing that, of course, the high oil spasms the liver and gallbladder, spitting out the stones. You got to be careful about doing that too much. You know what I'm saying? Because one lady did it years and years ago on me and got pieces of her liver out. And that's after 3 or 4 months of me trying to save her liver. So I'm real cautious with stuff like that, I'm going to say that, first of all, I don't see the need to have oils. My grandmother did that to me. But I don't really see the need to have that like that myself. If you're going to do a nutritive oil, then I would probably go more to grapeseed oil or something like that, if you want a nutritive oil. If you're trying to do oil pulling, I don't know. I like detox the right way, myself. You got to be careful with too many oils. Even though the great lymph system is an oil-based system, and I love them in that way, but you want to be careful about ingestion of oils. This is probably one time I'm on the side of the FDA a little bit. Let me see. It's supposed to flush your intestines. Yeah, you know what? you don't have to do things like that that compromises the liver and gallbladders and stuff to flush your intestines. The GI broom alone is enough to rake them clean. So let me tell you, you don't need to do oils to rake clean, but you need astringents, and that's what you want to look for. And so things like the stomach and bowel formulas, or not laxatives. If you're going to clean the bowel, you don't need to use laxatives. And a lot of companies like Schultz's and BE Irons and stuff, they always have a bentonite clay formula, and then they have a laxative formula because it's so you don't get bound up, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, everybody has those things. It's like, okay, nobody has a GI broom. Because I don't believe in giving you lots of clays to bind you up and possibly take a trip to the ER. Seems like drinking any oil might not be the best thing. Now you got it. Thank you very much for what you do. We appreciate you so much. Oh, Kellie. Thank you, sweetheart. I love you, honey. Hi, Elizabeth. Things are getting back to me. Yes, I cannot eliminate all at once. Let me see who this is. Jim B. knew all my issues, but I suffer from interstitial cystitis, so I cannot have any fruit. So going slow with the food is a must, even though I want to get better ASAP. I don't know why this is here. Yeah, due to the interstitial cystitis, I'll just read, this is a letter to one of our, to Elizabeth here. She said, due to the interstitial cystitis, I cannot take any tinctures with alcohol, no kidding. And a lot of the herbs are too strong for me. I already know about the Fab 4, which I have, but cannot take right now. We'll try to go to the, listen, there's a lot of ways to buffer these things, honey. I would definitely do that and get the herbs, because if you do nothing, it just gets worse on you. And if you half-ass do things, it'll still get worse on you. So you're trapped in a catch-22. But it's interstitial, which everything is interstitial, okay? And it's acidosis. And that it's painful. It feels like you always have to. I understand that. Get yourself aloe vera plant and use the real stuff inside, the goopy stuff. Put that in a shot glass or in a small glass and add your herbs into that. You can burn your alcohols off of those as much as you can, and then use that if you want. If not, use the capsules. You got to use something to get in there and get this out of there. I'm telling you right now, you got to do something. And if you're not on fruit, then you really don't have much to do that. Green juices alone won't cure interstitial cystitis that I know of. So you got to try to find where you can do that. To buffer some of this, though, the aloe vera is a great buffer, and also marshmallow root. So go out and get yourself some marshmallow root and or slippery elm. If you do both, that's fine. We have it in the heal-all tea, but we also have a little plantain. And I would say the heal-all tea is a perfect tea for interstitial cystitis, because it is, and you can make it into a tea and make it as strong as you want, or as weak as you want. At the same time, you got to do something, because you just remember that every day you live, those acids are breaking down your bladder, and you got to stop that, pain or not pain. I don't know what to say about it. So you can use those things. You can use the antispasmodics. There's a lot of things that you can use to cool down, to buffer, to still get those herbs in. But you got to do something there, honey. You got to get this thing moving and going. Try your green drinks. Don't try your salads, because you're going to swing so slow, you'll be dealing with this forever. And by the time you're waking up to this, you could deteriorate the bladder too much. So you want to get with this, no matter what, and get this out of you. I'd be popping a lot of distilled water. Green juices if you can't handle the fruit, but I would certainly try, especially apple juices and stuff like this, homemade. I would definitely try those, because you have to have some astringents to get this done, because without that, they're just going to sit there. At the same time, you got to get the kidneys. You got to get those kidneys opened and opened and opened too. So you got some things to deal with there. At the same time, I'd be popping up my adrenal glands to get more steroids to help me with the inflammation, with the acidosis. So that's important that you enhance and work with those adrenal glands irregardless. So these are just some of the things that when you wake up to systemic acidosis like this, and of course it's all interstitial anyway, it's just that they are finally identifying what it really is. Instead of just saying cystitis, You got to work yourself out of this. And sometimes working out of it, guys, is not fun, not easy. But what else is out there? And if you play around too long trying to keep it down, it can hurt you bad. So you use your teeth. And that's another beautiful thing about herbs. Where you going, little fella? You can't stay here. Marshmallow, slippery elm, things like that are anti-inflammatory and healing to the mucosa, gentle on the mucosa. The heal all tea is good because that plantain will give you a little draw, but you've got to have some drawing power on that lymph system. And it does a little painful when you do that, no question. But look at where you're going if you don't. I'm just saying, do your best. Do your best. Trying to think anything else you could do to help with that. But those are some of the things. Hi, Dr. Morse. Let me see where we are in time. Okay, good. I have been vegan and high fruit for a year now. I am trying to cut out cooked foods completely. I am a 21-year-old female. Wow, 21 years old. Raw. Yeah, that's how old I was about when I went total raw. And I loved it. I think I was on my 6-month orange fast at age 21. I think, somewhere there. I lost half of my hair and my skin broke out so badly that people thought I had chickenpox. I have almost healed both with raw food. However, I have receding gums and they are getting so bad. Remember our discussion on these things, guys, because this is what acidosis does, even to the females. So she's definitely on the right track. She's getting out. She's getting the hydration going interstitially. She's moving her lymph and she's moving down this road. But this is what acidosis does. You know, we talked about that 2 videos ago, my dear, so you're probably going to have your answer before you even see this video if you're watching the other ones. But bicarbonate, wash your mouth out occasionally with bicarbonate. Get your pH papers, make sure, your mouth is alkaline. Dark grapes are extremely alkalizing to the mouth, so I would be on my dark grapes. Anything dark like that's very alkalizing to the body. Purple blueberries and things, so very alkalizing to the body. And that's what you kind of want, is keep that mouth alkalized as much as you can while what? While you move your lymph system. You want to get into your kidneys, adrenals, the lymph system, clean up your bowels. You want to go after this because we're waking up to having to go after a full body work. There's no detoxing just the head. That's impossible. So this is a whole body workup. But when you notice that everything is systemic, it just makes sense, doesn't it? So that's what you want to do there. You're doing pretty good there. But the receding gums, wash your mouth out with baking soda once in a while. If you want to really get after this, use some Hill All Tea. Now this is real strong on the gums, but you can cut that down, say 1 teaspoon of herb per 4 cups of water. And make that real light. But while you're watching TV at night, make sure you're away from the radiation a little bit, at least as much from direct. And hold it in your mouth, spit it out, and start pulling these acids out of your gums that way if you can. That might help a little bit. It's astringent, so it'll tone those gums up a little bit. But to stop anything that's breaking down, because receding gums means you're losing tissue, isn't it? And teeth and everything else. What cytochemistry does this? That's it. Your acid side, and that's the lymph system, and that's what we're fighting. Bud does not take your teeth down or recede your gums. It's the lymph system. And this is why we are so packed with dental problems. You can blame bacteria till hell freezes over if you want, but if you ignore the facts, and why are the bacteria in your mouth? Food particles, acids, yep, all of that. I have receding gums and they are getting so bad. The enamel has come back on my one tooth, but I am terrified of this. Parathyroid. Remember, keep going after parathyroid. Don't be afraid about regeneration. Make your body regenerate itself. You take control of your bodies and make your bodies do what you tell them to do, because you're the master and you're the knower and you're the conscious one. The bodies are not conscious in that way. So we're all just a blowback from mind and emotionals. That's why I say when you can learn how to detach yourself from those, you're free. And now you can control your worlds instead of society controlling your worlds. They don't like that very well, but Keep going because your teeth will calcify. You'll fix your teeth and fix them up nicely, but you've got to get the acids out of the gums and things, and that's to get these lymph nodes. Fill under your jaw here and see if your lymph nodes are swollen. And most people, they're always swollen. So you want to get these lymph nodes cleaned. Well, how do you do that? You got to open up the pathways. You can also do the neurolymphatic points on the front, down the sternum. Oh, a little more painful than the back. But the whole gig is to open up, to express, to eliminate. Then the body can rebuild itself. And beautifully as it will. Just like your one tooth is rebuilt, your whole mouth will rebuild. But you've got to get rid of this acidosis. Number 110. So you always want to make sure you're as alkaline as possible, even if you have to use baking soda to help you do that. You could do this. You could do a pinch of baking soda, which is bicarbonate, aluminum-free. Remember that? Just a pinch in with a cup of Heal tea, and then just sit there, hold your mouth, and let it alkalize, and yet draw and pull and inspire healing. Mm-hmm. People that have abscesses in the mouth, that's what we do, and we take the herbs from boiling and we pack them. I try to eat sweet fruits as much as possible, but my herbalist says I should take progesterone. Yeah. It's a wacky world here, isn't it? It's funny. Everybody's got an opinion. But you know that, right? You know you can't do that. Well, that's not good. I am not sure I should. Oh, you're not sure? If you take progesterone, honey, you'll lose your production of progesterone, and then you will become an estrogen-dominant female. And it's better to become a progesterone-dominant female than an estrogen-dominant female because one's acid, one's base. Which would you rather stick your foot in? A bat of acid or a bat of ice? I'll take the ice. Thank you. This naturally, please help. Get your adrenals up if you're low in progesterone. But when an herbalist says you need to take progesterone, herbalists need to get with it. You know, I mean, I don't know who this herbalist is or anything about that, but herbalists have to step up and become more than just herbalists. And if this herbalist is talking about treating your body's symptoms with herbs, she hasn't learned what you really use herbs for yet. What food should I eat? Well, obviously, I'm going to tell you need to detoxify because you need to clean your lymph system out, so it's going to go back on the detox diet. Fruits, berries, and melons, start cleaning. Get into your darker fruits if you want. If you want to go, I'd stay down to the subacid categories, but always check your mouth because your mouth, if you're getting receding gums, you're going to always have acid, saliva, and everything else. And what little alkaline punch that fruit is for a little while is only going to be short-lived. So you'll find your mouth turning acid again. And again, this is just because all the pathways and byways are acidic in your mouth. And until you clean those byways and highways, they're always going to have that blowback on you. So you got to remove and get that lymph moving. As the lymph is moving nice and everything, then acids don't stay around. There's the waxing and waning of the electrons. Remember the acid-base movement of the duality situation? I try to take my green drinks. I just want them to grow back. Well, you can take green drinks, but you really want to detoxify. Because keep in mind, you must clean before you rebuild. Trying to rebuild in an acid, dirty environment doesn't yield you really great success. You might feel better and get half-assed done, but not to the level we're talking about. So really dig in. Start cleaning yourself out with that. If you need to, again, wash your mouth out. You can even do the marshmallow and slippery elm even in your mouth, like interstitial cystitis, inflammation, anything that heals and soothes and alkalizes. I just want them to go back. I have endured healing crisis, and I'm determined to become healthy. And I am determined with you. Good deal. Hello, my name is Trevor K. from PA. No kidding, your name is Trevor from Pennsylvania. Yeah, I knew a Trevor from Pennsylvania. My mother and I have been watching your videos for a while, and I have heard you mention type 1 diabetes once. Well, just once? We talked about it quite a bit. Matter of fact, there's a video yesterday going up with type 1 on there, my friend. So go back to the last video before this one, and I've answered that question for you. I was wondering if you could do a video or sometime specifically on helping cure type 1 protocol. I have been looking for 4 years now anywhere. Yeah, well, go back to that last video yesterday. I'm not going to, double that time for people. I want to get on through this, but I already spent some time on type 1. And you can call and talk to Marcy if you want. Again, a type 1 just about done. So to give you an idea of what she's had to put up with, because we were talking yesterday about insulin and the amount of years on insulin and what that does to the beta cells and how you have to work yourself out of this problem, because it's a serious problem, and you have to fix the weakness, whether it's a neurological type 1 or it's a beta cell type 1, genetic type 1. I am 23 and I was diagnosed at 12. Wow. Within the first year of having type 1, I went to a chiropractor and he helped with energy and had me on digest, protease, and probiotic enzymes and eating organic, etc. I was doing that for a couple of months and I was getting off my insulin. But school came around and started eating bad again, and I had to start taking shots again. Well, you just kind of really said it in the same sentence there, is that you changed your eating habits and therefore you saw a change in your symptomology. So you answered your own question right off, my man. Is first of all, you must change your diet, because you can't deal with these sugars and deal with all this with an acidic diet or with a starch diet. That's insane. Matter of fact, as we've said, our only recommendation for level or for type 1 is fruit. That way you don't have a need for insulin like you do with the glucose route, and you have some time to work on some things and still get some ATP, ADP, and all the TPs out there. So that's what I would do, is to return myself back. The problem with protease and taking digestive enzymes, you'll wake up not digesting your proteins, and why would you give him protease in the first place? Probiotic enzymes and stuff like that, and that's a no-brainer. You don't want to do that. But what suggestion here is that you get into your pancreas with herbs that are meant for the pancreas. In other words, there's pancreatic herbs out there that have grown specifically for the pancreas. Who do you think grew that one? Exactly. So you want to use God's herbs. And I'll tell you what, I'd go after the liver gallbladder formula, because all those are the barbarous families, and those are incredibly great herbs. You got your burdock, your yellow dock, your Oregon grapefruits. These are all incredible, high iron, beautiful herbs that just help you in every way possible. So I would use that. I would actually alternate between the pancreatic formula and the liver gallbladder formula. However, and I'm saying that because you did see a little improvement with the enzyme thing, because you have to consider the neurological side of these things, and that's going to speak out of the adrenal glands and the autonomic nervous system. And of course, there's always pituitary relationships to these things. I mean, you got to take a look at the endocrine glands control everything. So don't get freaked out when we bring in the gland issue with this, because they're the ones that, and the pancreas is an endocrine gland. It's also an exocrine gland, but it's an endocrine gland. So these glands that produce hormones, you can't mess with them. You can't be taking progesterone and insulin and all these things like that. You're getting on your fruits. Even if you were still battling 150s or 200s, you could still use glucophage or something else besides insulin while you're rebuilding the beta cells. Because I've had type 1 in here with beta cell transplants and everything else, and Jesus Christ, didn't work. Transplanting the beta cells. Let me see here. When I was 19, I decided to try and heal myself again for good, this time trying different eating. Organic, non-GMO, raw food, vegan, etc. All done simultaneously or separately. I play sports and lift weights. Average to trim body type, 5'9", 159 pounds. But if you're doing protein, you'll never get out of this. Not to make a blanket statement, but if you're popping protein to build up like that, I don't know how you'll ever get well, to be honest with you. I have been trying to better myself eating and mentally every day for the past 4 years. Good man. And that's what you want to do. Because let me tell you, if you're an athlete thinker, to spend some time dealing with this, cleaning your bowels, cleaning your kidneys, getting your adrenals up, getting this taken care of, and I'll show you an energy and an endurance you'll shock your friends with. And I'm serious. You're already seeing it on the YouTubers. When you have YouTubers calling me saying, how do I turn this energy off? We're getting there, aren't we? That's pretty bad when you have to say, how do I turn all this energy off? That's what I had to do. I couldn't take it. I would love to hear your protocol for type 1 and what you would do. I would love your help and be in your debt. Oh, I'll be happy to help you, Trevor. You know that. That's what I'm here for. So you can count on my help. Thing is now, I want you to go back to that other video because we spent a lot of time talking about that yesterday on this other video. And not over duplicating things because sometimes I get yelled at by some of you guys for duplicating too much. So I don't mean to, but I just pick up as I go. It's all I can do right now. Maybe in the future we can categorize them and put questions for type 1 and look at all the skin questions. You know, so many suffering with skin problems. And how interesting it is we're all suffering from lymphatic problems. But if you understand the nature of foods, the high-protein diets and the mucus-forming diets of dairy products that we've been on for generations, it shouldn't be a stretch to understand why we're suffering. So to create some illusionary concept of diseases when man is eating the way he is, I don't know what to say about it. But if you need to, son, call in here and let us help you. Get on a counselor or talk to some club members in here, and they'll help you get your path on. But I did cover that on the other video. But outside of the pancreatic liver gallbladder formula, I'm in full force detox. You want to clean you want to deparasite your body, you could have liver flukes. If you've never cleaned your body out, you don't know if you have liver flukes causing type 1 or not. See, you gotta deworm yourself because there's pancreatic and liver flukes. And you gotta just check off all the boxes. Did it, cleaned it, did it. And before you know it, you're out of trouble, you're rebuilt, and you're good. But at 12 years old, if it is a beta cell problem and not a neurological problem to the beta cells, then big-time genetics, that's going to look at mom and dad and that sort of thing. And that's where you want to get into the pancreatic herbal formulas and stuff like that. At the same time, you know, we do have a heavy-duty blood sugar control formula. So you could use that one to control your blood sugars along with the fruits. But if you want a little more personal advice with that, get a hold of Marcy, and she'll be glad to tell you how she's success is, because she is right at the bottom of it now. She's fighting that on-off get of insulin. She's been off it for a long time, but if she screws up a little bit, it goes back up. You want to get yourself done to where you can go out and have a piece of cake and your blood sugar maybe goes up 5 points. You can eat a piece of big cake and you don't want to be over 110. That's when you know you're getting it. Let's see. Clive mossmoon. Wow. Can you hit a lymphatic vein to draw lymph fluid and look at it under a microscope like you can blood? I would think so. No one's ever talked about it. We've thought about it, but no one's ever talked about it that way. Matter of fact, how can you not help but get interstitial fluid? If you don't get blood, what kind of fluid are you getting? See what I'm saying? But you should be able to. Matter of fact, you should take that fluid out and get it analyzed. You know, so if you can get a needle into where you're suffering and that and pull that out of there, you can see how acidic that fluid really is. See why you're suffering. Because you know they're coming out of the cell around 3 pH, so you're somewhere in that. When you can feel that pain in a body, you got to be somewhere around 3.5 pH. And those poor people that have had lupus or Lyme's or whatever, they kind of diagnose this crap. And they saturate their bodies with antibiotics. I mean, it's just a money thing. Because that has never worked. I have tons of Lyme's in here for years. Same story. Sad story, same story. It's like, if I'm a practitioner, and I'm trying, I'm hitting you with antibiotics, and I see no one getting well from it, you think I'm going to change knowing that antibiotics isn't candy? That's what I'm saying. There's a mindset within allopathy that has to be changed. It's not a negative thing. It's a mindset that is negative, and it has to be changed. You got to bring ourselves up as healers and practitioners of the art of health and wellness. That's not allopathic medicine. Allopathic is medicine. Surgeries, ER work. When they started coming into our field with health, that's when everybody got hurt. People are dying all over the place because wrong field. You can't say you're in the health field bringing toxic pharmaceuticals that kill you and claim you're into the health field. You can't even use the word health. It doesn't fit. It's not your word. It's our word. And we'll fight you over it. I just discovered you yesterday, July 30th, 2015 on YouTube. Is there any hope for me concerning my jawbone? Years ago, I had 2 root canals done on my upper jaw teeth. The 2 teeth side by side become infected. I could smell them like a dead animal smell. It takes me back to my days as a lion. I just love that. I made an appointment with a biological dentist. They pulled them out, but also drilled out the bad jawbone. Now I have a hole in my jawbone into my sinus. Yeah, I know how they work. This drains into my mouth because I have a small slit in my gum that allows it to drain into my mouth. Oh, poor thing, my God. I did drainage and pressure feeling there. The only thing that helps is a magnetic pulsar unit. I really wish I could go back the jawbone. If you don't get out of here, you're not going to live. And get the opening shut. I hope I hear from you. God bless you and your work. Elena, sweetheart, think about this. You have to fix why you had the infection in the first place and what's infectious in the body. Toxemia. Where does toxemia come from? Cell sewage. It's cell poop. And all this is cells that make up your mouth, your gums, your jawbone, your teeth. So, if you want to rebuild it, it is very rebuildable. Very. Dentists are always cutting out a lot of your bone. It grows back. If it doesn't grow back, you're way too acidic, and of course all your growth factors are shut down. You can't grow. You can't grow new tissue in a highly acidic medium. That's an oxymoron. You need a base medium, and we talked a little bit about anionic and ions and the move transference of electrons and protons and how that all works. Not to get too intellectual, but it's enough to say if you want this done, you have to start detoxing your lymph system now. Get your kidneys, get your adrenals, go that route that we talked about in all these videos. Look at the 15 or 14-week program. Get on that if you can afford that. Get on a detox, a high-level detox. While you're doing that, my dear, I would hit the parathyroid formula with the bones formula. And I would take 2-3 times a day of the parathyroid formula for a couple of bottles is what I would do. Make sure you're seeing that. But remember, at first, you got to also clean the acids out. So if you take that, you can't expect to see new teeth and everything right off. It takes a while to regenerate the human body. But you can, and you can fill that hole right up and rebuild all of that. And just like the person before you, if you're not careful, you'll get the receding gums. It's all classic acidosis in the mouth. But you can rebuild bone, you can rebuild all tissues in the body as long as you remove what? What breaks them down? And what side of chemistry breaks them down? Since there's only 2, the question is pretty easy as a multiple choice, don't you think? Subject, mandatory vaccinations. Hello, Master Morse. Thank you. I love you. Attached to the email is a State of Illinois mandatory meningitis vaccine for my 2 children in high school. My boy, a junior, and my daughter, a freshman. Oh, my God. This is a case where children are forced to be vaccinated. Yeah, I agree. They're not to pardon your French. That's my mind, too. Bullshit. And California is the same way. You know, this is exactly why Donald Trump is being favored pretty heavily right now. Is this because our politicians have failed us miserably. And I love a lot of the new guys. I like Cruz. Of course, I'm a Ron Paul man, so I like his son. But they still, they all still seem to have issues. They all can't seem to be balanced in everything they're talking about. And this is one of them. And one of the reasons is that allopathy has dominated this America big time and has spent a lot of money to try to build this concept that we're alternative and they're somehow traditional. Somehow they're the ones and everyone else might have a little plug-in. So the lies and the misconceptions are huge. So huge, excuse me, that the Supreme Court of Connecticut was willing to force a 17-year-old, this is going to be the worst thing they've ever come to do in their lives. And they're going to wake up to this by the time they're awake to what's going on here, because they're going to get blowback like crazy. Just this 17-year-old, have you all heard her story? Have you watched her video? The one they tied down, drugged, and forced chemo. Those people need to go to jail right now. Right now. Don't even waste time. Pick them up, lock them up, let them sit there and learn meditation, put them on a raw food diet, a daily colonic, that'll all help. In about a year, they can come out and enjoy the new world, because this is crazy. But you know what? It is what it is. I don't know what to tell you about that. I can tell you this. The first people that start dying or having serious problems from the vaccines need to supersede the states. And, the sad thing, and I've said this on the other video, when you allow the bankers to run everything, this is what you get. So now what you get is everything's about the money. Even the Supreme Court, the judicial system, everything's about the money. Everything is also political. So right now, it's money and politics. But these beings that are involved in this, of course, are just unconscious. This is all part of the game here. But it's also how we recognize what you don't do and how you have to change that. So it's that positive and negative, spiritual back and forth sort of thing. When it pulls you out of that, we get a little mad because it's insane. And to force our children that are half grown, taking the jurisdiction. I want to know how states feel what they've done, and that's what I would like to know is, and we'll probably be suing some states like that to find out how they have jurisdiction over your children. What did you do at birth? That's what we're finding out, at least. I don't know if it's all true or not, but we're sure finding out a lot at birth to grant states jurisdiction over your children. The parents have jurisdiction in the private sector over the children, not the public sector, not the states. So when states think they have jurisdiction over your children, this is what we have to change. We have to change the government's idea that they think they have jurisdiction over your children. Parents do. And so this is serious stuff. And I don't know what to tell them, because there's going to be a lot of kids die, a lot of kids get cancer, a lot of seizures, a lot more ADDs, a lot more of everything. So when you start forcing people to put toxins in, you know what you're creating? War. That's just what they're creating, more war on this planet. And that's what sometimes unsettles me, is that these same souls create these same things over and over, and it's war over again, because just like you said, your response is bullshit. Forcing my children to take toxins into their body? That's my same response too. How do you stop that? How do you stop that as Americans or any other people in the world? We have to stand up together. I've seen very few Americans standing up together against anything. We're so apathetic, we let the government just train right over us. This is sick stuff. Sick stuff. Now, Illinois joins the band of constitutional breakers. I don't know what to tell you. Illinois Public of Health. This notice to form and clarify information about the state, date of the new whatever they call it, vaccine requirements. House Bill 3190 was signed into law. Now, here's one that might get you. you might be able to fight this over, even though they've passed this into law, statutes cannot be actually upheld until, one, regulations are written behind them, because you have to have a regulation behind a statute to be enforceable. Plus, it has to hit Title 44 in this country. It has to be in the Federal Registry for an X amount of time before it's passed into positive law. So understand that there can be plenty of statutes, and you must understand that most of Title 26 has never been passed into positive law. And the reason is the way they wrote it. Title 26, for those in America, is the Internal Revenue Code. Title 27 is alcohol, tobacco, and firearms, which are the same people, basically. The BATF symbol is the same one the IRS uses. These are both, of course, the IRS is not a federal agency at all. It's a foreign collection agency, jurisdiction down in Puerto Rico. That's where their headquarters are in this hemisphere. We can go on and on and on about the crap that they've done to us. But you might want to find out about that with a good attorney to find out if this has been enacted into positive law. And it just makes me sick. But I got to take some time. We have to start an association amongst us all, and I'm including the herbal manufacturers, the medical doctors, all of us. Medical doctors only if you understand how bad this is. A lot of you medical doctors don't have a clue what you're doing. That's sad. But get a hold of Dr. Tenpenny, I forget the neurosurgeon's name, but way too much evidence about vaccines being toxic and killing people. Not so much killing, maiming, seizures, ADD, ADHD. If these pharmaceutical drug lords had to take care of all the kids that they've hurt, that's good enough karma for them. But just keep that in mind. These statutes have to be enacted. I think even state statutes have to be enacted into some type of positive law before they're actually truly enforceable. And they must also have regulations written behind them. I just think that we have to get in here and fight this from a constitutional viewpoint that you cannot force. But jurisdiction is a big issue. So what you need to do is get a hold of the, Illinois? Or what was it? No, was this Illinois? Yeah, state of Illinois. Find out where they think their jurisdiction comes and where did they lose their jurisdiction. We all think, and a lot of the brainers out there think it's at the birth certificates. The certificate of live birth is actually the authentic certificate. That has to be registered with the state of the Secretary of State. At least it's what we're finding out. That establishes your account. It establishes your child as an entity, as an estate. Because remember, everything is looked on as financial. That's why your birth certificates are on bond paper. For those of you who are in the financial, you know what bond paper means. These are tradable documents. Why would a birth certificate be on bond paper? What's tradable? Your babies? So you have to understand there has been massive fraud in this country. You can't do that with people without their conscious knowing about it. So these states and these governments have created so much fraud. Matter of fact, the IRS has been after me so long because those people that know the truth, they don't like us. Because we know they've been misapplying the tax law. We know who's the crooks out there. There's going to be time coming. But that's the battle of the physical world, guys. And so you have to pull back from that a little bit from one side and keep your spirituality so you don't lose that, because this world tugs at your spiritual strings because it's just so insane here at this level. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you about this. It makes me sick to my stomach that our politicians, but that shows you the unawareness of our politicians, and that's sick. If your politicians are not spiritual, look at what's happening to our world. That makes me sick, my friend. I don't know how to help you. That's why I'm saying, with this association, we can have some funds. We do have good attorneys. We can get even more attorneys, and we can start going after these states. We can go after the FDA. We don't have to sit here and play Mr. Defensive. We can become offensive. And I've never believed in being defensive toward IRS, toward anybody else. No, you think you're coming after us? We're coming after you. What are you talking about? You're coming after us. No, no, no. You have to worry about us coming after you, and that's where we have to become one. So when you have people that are trying to tear us apart and split us up, you know why that is. The negative forces do not want us to become one, because we'll make this place a pretty nice place to be. They don't want that, of course, because that's not in the strings of things. So you've got these two forces that battle with each other. The classic chess game of life, so to speak, or checkers, positive, negative, da-da-da-da-da. But it builds strength in you when you stand up against these things, and it builds a spiritual awareness of strength and power and things like that, because that's what's needed to survive throughout, is a sense of strength. And so we're going to have to sue or something these people in the future, these states, to stop this insanity. But we can use what they don't understand about the laws and stuff and what we do to go after them lawfully. So I don't know. These are. I've got a friend very high into laws like this that can get them. I'm going to see what he thinks about all this mandatory vaccines. That just makes you sick. These drug lords are just laughing all the way to the bank. It just makes you sick to your friggin' stomach. If you had to take a look at all the ADD, ADHD, that's just the easy side. How about all the seizures? And I've talked about the clients we have from constant seizures from vaccines. Remember the 27-year-old that's had seizures since she was 6 months old from vaccines? Who's going to take that soul's journey and help that soul all these years and all the suffering? How about the suffering of the parents that had to live through this? What pharmaceutical company is going to make that up? These are known effects of these pharmaceuticals. They've already known that. Dr. Tenpenny, she already went into CDC centers and saw that they had lied to medical doctors about the effects of these things. So, what are we in here? We're in some of the biggest, stinkiest fraud and stink and nasty, negative and evil stuff you ever saw. But this is the negative cycle. You're in a negative cycle on this planet. And I'm still telling you, it ain't done yet, guys. It's predicted to get much worse. So I don't know what to say. I'm hoping not. With a lot of you guys and giving out love and peace and beauty and helping people with their health, we might be able to turn this around enough. These legislatures, ironically, their children, need to be involved in some of these problems so they're aware of what you don't do. It's just sick when you think about the whole thing. I don't know. For those that have been out of the body into some of the higher God worlds, it's the hardest to take. Those of you that have never experienced those things don't have such a hard time with it, I'm sure, but when you're in higher levels of the God worlds, the beauty and the peace and the joy and I just think I can't even describe that. It's nothing like here. This is so radical. I don't know what to say about it. So I'm always trying to build strength in each and every one of you, survival strength, not only physically but spiritually, to survive the wars that are in creation, because creation has both sides, guys, both sides. This is Sarah. All right, Sarah, this will be the last one. Hi, Dr. Morse. I hope you're doing well. Thank you, sweetheart. I'm on a 100% fruit diet and eat some dates here and there. Since I'm reversing type 1 diabetes, here's another type 1 right here. Is it best to stay on this diet forever, or can I switch back to it? You can switch back. Absolutely switch back. It would be hard to just eat. Yeah, I know it. No, you can switch back. No. You're just fixing things right now. My honest opinion is I don't believe too many of us can be just fruitarians. Not just from the lack of poor quality fruit. That's where I am here. I'm just so discouraged I can't even tell you. Marcy brought in some beautiful Georgia peaches and they were like this, we were going, because we're used to Indiana peaches. Georgia peaches are good when they're ripe off a tree. If a peach doesn't pop all over your face and you get that nirvanic peach taste, it's not a good peach. And if it's sitting there picked hard, it's not a ripe peach. Oh, yeah, it'll ripen in a few days in the window. That's not ripening. That's fermenting. The peach has already stopped its growth stage when you picked it. Every fruit and every plant does that, but which one? The banana. That's why it's nature's perfect food. Isn't that cool? Cool stuff. So, yeah, no, you want to fix things and then balance out to where your spirituality is, what you need to keep yourself balanced. But you'll be a lot more aware of what foods will do that, because your body will be more sensitive, and I mean very sensitive, to those things that bring you down. And that's pretty cool, because you have some safety mechanism. When I eat wrong, I get tons of mucus, and it just in my face, so it just keeps you doing better. This is Alan. Hello, Alan. Hi, 24-year-old male, stuck at the same weight of 105 pounds for years. Yeah, I mean, you got either digestion or malabsorption, one of the two. My thoughts are always malabsorption, of course, when you have digestive problems, because what system has to be down to have digestive problems? The lymph system. Because when you take a look at this in the liver, you start to see the growth of problems in the liver by fatty tumors, elevated liver. This is all acidosis. There's only one system that deals with that. Of course, that's the lymph system. So you're back to that system in all these tissues, whether it's pancreatic, hepatic, but you pretty much know when you're backed up, hepatic or pancreatic, you're also in the bowel wall, working itself up the esophagus, up into the head area. If your sinus are impact, too late. You know what I'm saying? This is big deal, big stuff. And once you realize it and fix it, you are so good to go. Your life is totally anew. And for some of you who've been suffering, you've suffered long enough. Time to change things. But you have to grab the bull by the horn, each and every one of you, and take these responsibilities for yourself. And I will say, the mother that I talked to earlier of the young lad that was skinny did a good job of informing her. She already had known everything I was telling her. She said, my son told me all these things. Smart son. It's tough. When you're skinny like this, it's tough. And it's tough to go on to fix it, because you could get skinnier. I've had men down to 80 pounds before. They're not dead. They're still alive and well, and now they're back up to their normal weights, because you have to fix things. I've said this before. You take your car in to get a paint job on it, and they're going to sand it down. It doesn't look too good till they get that nice, new, shiny coat of paint on there. And the same thing, you guys are getting a nice new paint job, but you're cleaning your cars out right now, sanding them down, fixing them up, rebuilding it, fixing all the bumps and humps, getting all that fixed and sanded out, and then you got a nice shiny coat of paint. And that'll take you right into Wellville. So that's the thing, when your weight isn't going up, then what is it? Is it hyperthyroidism? Hyperthyroidism, you're going to know that by checking your basal temperatures. You're way up in the 98s. You're also going to know it by a diagnosis of the eye, the Marty Feldman's eyes, fast oxidizer or digester, meaning you're going to eat 20 meals a day instead of 1 or 2. That's hyperthyroidism. If we're looking at malabsorption, even digestion can be off. So you want to get into there. You want to get in the GI broom, stomach and bowel formulas, and clean up these things. Get into the pancreas and liver. Maybe alternate one bottle of each on those. Get into the adrenal glands. Go after this sort of thing in a right way. Now, he had his tonsils removed at 10. So automatically, the lymph system is backed up here. So the bowel wall is definitely before here. So malabsorption is going to be one of your problems. If you have digestive problems on top of that, that doesn't help either. Itchy lower left rib with a small bump. Breast in mold. An itchy lower left rib, that's fungus, with a small bump. So you have a kind of a stagnant pool of lymph, probably a little fungal bed too, probably why it itches and stuff. So as you move lymph, you want to make sure that goes away, because that could be a future tumor. Dry tongue, that's dehydrated GI tract. It's Dehydration, my friend. That has bumps and gets stuck on the roof of my mouth like touching ice with wet hands and pulling it off. Ouch. Are you kidding? Drinking water burns. Holy crap, listen, Alan. Man, your mouth is extremely acidic. Holy crap, man. Okay, so remember just a few minutes ago I was talking about the heel all tea with the baking soda? Probably wouldn't be a bad idea. Now you want to get on the kidneys, the adrenals, get on the stomach and bowel formula, whatever you need to move your bowels every day, and get on the GI broom and start cleaning yourself out. You got to do this. Wow, that's scary. Oh, I stick on my mouth. Okay. That's scary. No. I'm surprised you have any teeth in your mouth. You gotta be careful. Be careful here, guys, with this kind of stuff. This is all highly acid, dry mouth, highly dehydrated, extremely dehydrated. So you want to take a look at this. And look at your kidneys, too. You want to clean up your GI tract. Drinking water burns. Oh, no. You'll be going to gastroparesis and everything else. No. Erectile dysfunction and premature ejaculation too. What should I do? Clean your butt out. Get your kidneys filtering. Get your adrenal glands up. That'll clean the prostate. You can re-strengthen it with the male reproductive formula after you get it cleaned up. Get everything cleaned up. So then your prostate will become strong and good. And same with everything else. You'll get this dry mouth out of here and everything else. Because where you're going here, excuse me, not looking good in terms of highly acid in the mouth, highly dehydrated GI tract. Ooh, no. We want to clean all that up. Get on your fruit diets and get all this straightened around, my man, because you got to do this. You don't want to end up with more serious problems. P.S. Thank you for your healing and kindness. It's like putting aloe on the soul. Thank you, Alan. Love you, man. Got to get out of this one, though, because you don't want that sort of thing going on up here. So you get your GI tract cleaned up, get your kidneys filtering, because you don't want to lose Mr. Prostate. You're young. You don't want to go that way. And fix all that up. You can there's a lot of male reproductive herbs that tone and strengthen. You can get to those a little later, but get the cleaning going right now. You could even use the prostate formula, but it's enough to say that kidneys and adrenal glands will clean the prostate from that. Clean your bowels up, your GI tract, get your lymph moving. You'll be okay. All right, guys, I'm going to set this aside. Maybe I can come in tomorrow. I'm off this week, so I'm coming in and doing everything I can. And what have I got here? I've got some interviews next week. This is good. So you guys are doing great. I'm so happy with you guys. You are proving to the world how you get well the right way. You guys are big deals to the world. Don't ever sell yourself short, okay? Don't ever feel you're less than anybody else either, because none of you are less than anybody else. Neither are any one of you better than anyone else either. We're all come from the same Godhead, guys. And we're just all God expressing itself in all different levels. And when you see that in everything, that's when divine love really sets in. And that is the key to your survival, is divine love and getting yourself free from those things that you're binding yourself with. Your thoughts and your desires are your binding agents. Be real careful with them, because they'll lock you to those things you really don't want even. So even the things you don't want, don't focus on them. Who cares? Love you guys. You take care of yourselves till we do the videos again. Keep going. You're doing very well. I'm proud of each and every one of you. You're hanging in. You're doing good. So many of you are turning your lives totally around. It's so exciting. I can't say enough about it. So, Namaste, Baraka Bashad. May the blessings be, guys.